these are my top 2 tips, and it might surprise you and you may not have heard this, but hear me out. First top tip that I have is for you to shut out all negative chatter that you hear in society or from your family or on television. For example, oh, you have a teenager? They just have attitudes. I cannot wait for them to get out of my house. I hear this so often. People say it to me, I hear it from others. It causes a lot of unnecessary anxiety. I mean, they're emotional, okay? They're growing, their hormones are all over the place, and they have a lot of things going on in their brain. But do you remember when you were a teenager? And you may not have been all of these things that you hear that society is telling you, but the teenage years are some of the most challenging years. So, shut out the negative chatter from others. Move away from it, stop it, do whatever you have to do. So sometimes my son and I, or even my daughter who is now a teenager, we don't agree, right? Nobody's perfect, we can't agree with everybody. And I've just learned that sometimes I need to pause, take a break. Sometimes I need a timeout, and we need to regroup later and discuss what may have happened. And I suggest the same for you. Take a break, pause, it's okay. Come back around and say, you know what, let's take a moment, we'll discuss this later, so that you can keep that relationship with your child going. They need our guidance, they do. And although others, society, will tell you that they need to be 100% dependent by the time they're 13 even, you hear these days, it's not true. They need you. So be there for them. Now I want you to give yourself some grace. This is a new season. This is high school. Give yourself some grace. It's a new thing, and it is okay for you to say, you know what? I don't know everything. Again, take a moment and pause and give yourself some grace. My next top tip out of them all is to realize that the teenage years are fun and you can have a relationship with your child. Yes, you can. It's not too late. You can restore and rebuild your relationship with your child if it has gone astray. Do things that are fun. Seize those moments because it's going to go fast, and you're going to look back and reflect and wish that you may have done things differently. So now, before high school starts, just realize in your mind, in your space, in your environment, that you can have fun during these years. Don't let anyone take that joy out of your household. My son likes to joke with me. He gets a kick out of certain things that I do, and we have a little joke going between us, but it's not always fuzzy and peachy and everything is great. This particular day, I knew we needed a pick-me-up. So after history, I told him to put his shoes on. We were gonna go for a ride, and he paused because I'm a stickler for school. Not normally wanting to do anything off of my schedule. However, this day I knew we needed something, so we went for a ride and we ended up at the arcade and we had a good time. And it was really, really nice. We came full circle with some of the differences we were having that particular day. Let me encourage you to just nurture your relationship with your child. Thou shalt have a relationship with your child. And if you put that in your bank, in your homeschooling bank, I think it will really pay off for you. Do fun things, do spontaneous things with your children in the teen years, even in the middle school years as well. And another way that you can do this is when your teenager has something that they want to talk about. And to you, it's a boring topic, but to them, it means everything. Put on your I'm gonna listen, I'm going to engage hat and jump right into it. My son likes to talk about Minecraft and editing. And to me, those are boring topics, but to him, they are not. So I ask him questions about what's going on with his videos and ask him to show me things because I'm oblivious to it. And he just talks and talks and pours out his heart about the things that he likes. And that's another way that you can engage and nurture your relationship with your child. It might be a boring topic to you, but to them it means everything. Hello, my name is CJ. I have a 10th grader, an 8th grader, and a 7th grader. And 2 of them are teenagers, and very soon the other one will be a teenager as well. I've learned a lot of things along the way, and I've also had some veteran moms pour into me. So today I want to share all of these how to homeschool high school tips with you. Remember that they are in life school, so everything that you are doing, have them come alongside you and learn. So for example, in our dishwasher, we have 2 drain covers. All right, this is a life skill that we're gonna be taking over monthly. So I wanted to show you the different filters in the washer, the dishwasher, that we need to clean out. Okay, so here's one. That's it. That need to be drained. In the dryer, there are several components that need to be cleaned out once a month. When your husband or their grandfather is working on the truck, or even how to clean windows with vinegar. So teach them everything so that they can get hands-on skills. Know that you do not have to teach everything. You can outsource classes. So for example, chemistry is not my love language, so we have budgeted for that and we have outsourced it for this year with someone who is more of an expertise than we are. Another option would be to join a local co-op or maybe take an online class, or maybe you have a trusted neighbor that has an expertise in a certain field like math. Maybe you even know another homeschool parent that is well gifted in Spanish and is willing to teach your children, and then maybe you guys can trade off and you can teach something else. Just know that there are so many avenues available these days for high school that you don't have to do everything. One thing that we've found that has been very helpful is my husband and I will have weekly meetings with our son, and we'll start to do that next year with our daughter as well. So these are just weekly parent meetings, I guess. And we just kind of recap the week, see how things are going, see if there's anything that needs to be tweaked, any questions, is there anything that we can pray for you about, or is there anything that is new that you need to tell us about? The high school years just kind of roll and roll and roll, and there's a ton of information, and sometimes we don't capture it all, and sometimes it goes to my son via emails or in his co-op or that sort of thing, or there's some new information that my husband and I collect that we need to chat about. So I would suggest a weekly meeting. It has been very beneficial. Speaking of emails, the next tip is that I want you to be prepared to be involved in your teen's high school journey. There will be emails that may be coming from the teachers of the classes that you outsource. There will be information all over the place for your teenager's high school journey. And I just want you to be prepared to remember to be involved in that. Don't just leave your teenager by the wayside. Walk them along the journey. I still feel that there's a bit of hand-holding that needs to be done. Of course, we want them to be independent to a great state, not a certain state, but a great state. But we don't want to leave them by the wayside and just kind of throw them to the wolves. So I just strongly suggest that you consider that and you keep that in your mind, that they will need some hand-holding along the way, and to remember that you need to be involved as much as possible. One thing that you may not have thought about is the high school years, the books, and the different materials that they need can be a bit pricey. So if you are watching this over the summer, or if your child is in the 8th grade, start budgeting for the high school years. We're talking about labs, classes, if you're doing any dual enrollment or even outsourcing classes. I purchased I'm gonna get this wrong, but you'll know what it is, T1I something instrument calculator thing for chemistry, and that was almost $200 for that chemistry calculator. It might as well be a computer because it costs so much. Anyway, I say that to say this: make sure that you budget so that unexpected costs don't surprise you in the high school years. One way that you can feel connected in the high school years and have your middle school or younger kids connected is to try to do any family subjects together if possible. There's a lot of curriculum out there that is family subject friendly. And so any of those that you can incorporate, it would be great to keep that connection going with the younger siblings and their older siblings in high school. So a lot of homeschool planning happens during the summer prior. And if you are planning right now and you are feeling overwhelmed, I understand there is a lot to consider for the high school years. You have transcripts, you have course descriptions, and you want to get it right. And I get that. I was the same way 2 years ago. It is okay for you to take a moment, leave it for a day, and come back and regroup when your mind is refreshed. So I wanted to just throw that one in there. Take a break, come back to it. I would advise that you are around other homeschooling families that have teenagers in high school as well. That way you can share information with each other. So if you are having trouble finding another homeschool family with teenagers in high school, you can go to Facebook and you can type in the search engine your city or your county, and you can be very specific. So for example, let's take Texas and let's take a city, Marin County, if that's one there. So you can type in Marin County homeschoolers in high school, or just Marin County homeschoolers, and see what groups pop up and see which ones are relatable to you, and then maybe you'll meet some friends there. But like I said, if you don't have any homeschoolers on your street or in your church or at the local soccer club that you are part of, this is just another way for you to be able to connect. Strongly advise for you to be around other homeschooling families with teenagers. All right, you're gonna hear a lot of things about dual enrollment. And what I have to say about that is dual enrollment is not for every child. So dual enrollment, for those of you who may not know what it is when your child will take a class at a college level. And that class, depending on your state and the laws, that class can count for high school as well as college credit. So it has some benefits, but there can also be some drawbacks, and you'll want to think and consider those things. At this particular moment, we are not considering dual enrollment for my son. We may consider it in the future, but as of now, we are not. You have to consider the level of maturity of your child. In your particular state, there may be a cost, there may not be. You'll need to consider the workload and the possible stress that it might bring and what that may do for your child. So don't feel that pressure. Take your time, do some investigation in it, and see if it's going to be the best fit for you, your child, and the family. Also consider their personality. As you're making your plans, consider what your child may want to do in the future. It doesn't have to be concrete, but find out what their interests are, even if they don't know what they want to be when they grow up. From there, I would cater their schedule accordingly. All right, I would choose classes based off of what they are interested in, especially the electives. So if you know that your child wants to be a chemist, I would cater all of the classes. Like if they are positive, that's what they want to do when they grow up, I would cater all of their classes around being a chemist. And one great way to accomplish this is to choose a college. And if they know what college they'd like to go to, that's even better. But you can choose a college and you can look at all of the courses and the requirements that it takes to get into that college for that chemist degree, and then pattern your 4-year plan after that. That's one take on it. The electives, I would make sure that I am choosing electives that are centered around chemistry. I would center electives around what your child may want, and have your child be involved in this process, and look through a bunch of electives and see with your child and see if there's something that jumps out at them that they are interested in. But I would highly suggest just catering the schedule and the choices of classes and even the curriculum around your child's interests. One thing that I was afraid to do in the 9th grade year was redo the schedule, and I wanted to share that with you. If you need to redo the schedule, or if you need to reduce the workload or tweak something in your high schooler's schedule, do it. As long as you're following all the guidelines and you've met requirements and you have the amount of hours that's needed. Let me give you an example. Let's say if they're studying fine arts and they're just not interested in looking at pictures and just gazing, look at this photo for 5 minutes and write a story about it. Tweak it. So what would that look like? They're still studying fine arts. Maybe they enjoy reading more than looking at photos, right? So they can look at a photo for a minute and type out a paper instead, or they can dictate their thoughts to you and you type it out. Redo the schedule, tweak it however you need to do it so that it's not stressful for your child and for you too. This is something that you're probably not thinking about, but you probably are. Although they are teenagers and they can drive now and they might think they know it all and all of those things, remember that they are still watching you, and whatever example that you want to put forth in your household and later on in life, look back and say, that's my child, I raised that child. Make sure that you're modeling that. They're watching you, whether you think they are or not. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. Put your best foot forward. And yes, we're all gonna make mistakes, but just something that I wanted to add in this little tip video is that they're always watching you. So be mindful of that. Okay, this one bears repeating again, and I just want to remind you to have fun with your teen. Listen to them ramble, go do something spontaneous like putt-putt golf, just have some fun in these teenage years. Nurture that relationship. Chemistry can wait. Your relationship with your child is necessary. So have fun. Set expectations for your family values and make sure that your teenagers know that. So in our house, we like to emphasize that when they are going to somebody else's house, for example, we say, hey, remember your last name and remember that you're representing Christ, you're representing our family, and you may have something similar to that, or something that, is part of your mission statement, and if you don't know what a mission statement is, it's kind of like when you walk into somebody's house and you see on their wall, in this house, we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is something like a mission statement. And some families write a mission statement and some don't. But if you have a mission statement, or if you have some sort of family value that, you don't want to be touched and you want to carry that through your children's lives from now all the way until they have their own family, just make sure that you set that foundation with your teen so that they know that when they step out of your doors, they are representing whatever it is that you have set forth. Lastly, grab a journal, a photo book, a yearbook of some sort, and document some of the fun, crazy times in your homeschool, high school journey. They will appreciate it. You'll have fun doing it. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I have a photo book where I write on 3x5 cards something that has happened or something cool. I slip it in there and then I have a photo that I put with it. Nothing fancy. But if you want to scrapbook and all of those things, I guess the point is just to make sure that you document the memories. It will be appreciated. You'll have fun doing it and your teen will enjoy it as well.